Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Beyond Action. As always, I'm your host, Merloski, and get ready to get your boxing gloves up because we will be talking about the Rocky movies. Yes, I know that this is long overdue since I have been talking about Creed. If you've seen my channel, then you do know that the Creed movie review was one of my best doing videos so far, and so I just think that it is very fitting for me to talk about Rocky. I just think that it's a very interesting movie series. I've personally, before now, I'd only watched them once, and it's because they're classics, but I didn't even pay too much attention to them. Right now, I watch them, and I actually cared about the characters. It gave me a bit of motivation, and so I think that it is just the perfect movie to talk about right now. It's just a very motivating and inspirational movie that I think that all of you guys might need a bit of inspiration in your day-to-day lives. And so maybe this episode helps you get out there, watch the movie, and get inspired to go and maybe change your life to do something better, or maybe just one day decide to go out on a run and then the next day forget about it. It happens to me all the time. But hey, I didn't even explain what this podcast is about. If you're new here, which I don't know what you're doing, I've been releasing episodes for pretty much some time. But if you're new, I talk about the entertainment industry, movies, TV shows, anything that I can get my hands on, I will be talking about, because I think that just this industry is the most amazing industry and it gives us the most amazing stories, as you can see from this movie that I will be talking about. Well, not just the movie, I will be talking about the entire series. There are like a bunch of movies. There are 5 to the original Rocky installments. Then you have Rocky Balboa, which is a different movie, which is basically just keeping up with Sylvester Stallone. And now you have these brand new 3 Creed movies, a trilogy, to basically just explain the new Creed character. But I won't go into those very much. I will basically just be talking about the first 5 Rocky movies. I think that they're the most interesting. I've watched all 3 Creed movies, and I think that they have some amazing tributes to this original trilogy. But if you look at the facts, then you know that the Rocky franchise came out in the late 70s and the early 90s, and they just have these amazing motivational moments that just keep you coming back for more. And if you haven't watched the movies and want to watch the movies just like I did without any spoilers, but you basically just go on TikTok or YouTube Shorts and you will find all type of Rocky spoilers. You're going to find them eventually, but hey, there is a spoiler warning. You should probably go watch all these movies. I would 100% recommend them. They're oldies, but they're goodies. Let me start with the movie that started it all. Rocky 1. Rocky Balboa is a Philadelphian boxer that kind of doesn't have that much of a life. He collects for this Italian mob guy that he just goes, beats up a few guys, might break a few fingers, does that. He likes this girl that works at a pet shop named Adrian. He kind of just has this scattered around life that he doesn't really have a clear direction of where he's going. He likes boxing as a sport, but the boxing scene has been going wrong since he's not doing anything with it. Now his coach Mick is training people that want to be professionals, unlike Rocky. You get given a lot of exposition at the very beginning, and it's a very interesting thing because yes, the movie has a bit of a slower pace. Obviously, it was made in the late 70s, so you won't have all the CGI, all of the graphics that you want, but you have really amazing choreographies and you have some really amazing things for what this era of television could do. So you have Rocky just kind of just going through life, not really doing too much, but then you have the person that starts this all off, Apollo Creed. 2 of his fighters back out, so now he has no one to fight in one of the biggest events of America. So he naturally goes to say, hey, we need a sob story. We need someone that will put some type of passion in people's hearts, and that we can kind of play with that so that we can make it ours, and that we can make sure that these people will be invested in what product we're trying to sell. In this case, the product that they were trying to sell was a really good boxing match, but you don't have a good boxer to go up against. you kind of have this underdog that you're like, hey, he's an underdog. He's not gonna win. I'm the world heavyweight champion, and this guy's just Rocky Balboa from Philadelphia. And so they start to kind of promote the fight. They say like, hey, yeah, he's the Italian stallion. He knows how to fight. He knows how to do, and like it's just gonna be an exhibition match where we get to show off our skills, and it'll be just a fun ride. Someone didn't tell Rocky that this was an exhibition match because it seemed far from it. If you've seen the movie, then you've seen what happens in the whole entire thing. You have Apollo Creed talking massive crap, just trying to get Rocky to, show a bit of what the beast is inside. But he's being a cocky son of a bitch because, hey, I'm the World Heavyweight Championship. You're just a random guy on the street that I gave him a name so that, like, I could have an opponent. So Rocky starts training. He's like, I'm going to fight the world champion. I got to make myself look good. He trains in one of these amazing training montages that Rocky is known for. He runs all the way up the stairs, and it's just this amazing sequence where then you see Rocky go up into the ring against Apollo Creed. You're not very convinced by what Rocky's going to be able to do since he is a brand new boxer up against the world champion, but his determination and perseverance gets through. And so he's taking punches, he gets knocked out, he gets back up, he keeps on punching, and he earns Creed's respect. Obviously, Creed thinks that one punch is enough to kill someone, but yet this guy keeps on getting up and telling him to keep it coming, keep punching more because he's going to take it. At the end, the fight ends with a split decision, and so all the camera people come up, and so everything just ends up happening, and there's a lot going on in this scene, but you do hear in the end that Apollo Creed ends up winning the first fight by split decision. And so this goes directly into the second movie. What they decide to do with these movies was, instead of giving it like some time in between, they kind of just made it one whole constant thing where they kind of just give a few months in between, but they do start with the ending scene of the past movie. So at the end of Rocky 1, you have what is the beginning of Rocky 2. So there's a bit of an overlap, and so you see the character in more than just, oh hey, yeah, 5 years have passed, now he's like the best in the world. No, you have them going straight to the hospital saying there ain't gonna be no second fight. You've missed your chance. This was an exhibition. You went way too hard, and this wasn't supposed to happen. But there are people that don't think that Apollo deserved the victory. Apollo, he thinks that he deserved the victory because obviously heavyweight world champion, I'm cocky, and I just, all of that type of stuff that he'd been saying before. But now he starts to believe it less. Rocky decides to retire because, hey, I fought the heavyweight world championship. My face got messed up. I have a bad eye now. But in the end, Apollo Creed decides to get him back out, taking the bait. And so they decide to fight again. Obviously, another amazing training montage. You will never get annoyed of them. They are so great. And I think that you guys would just love to watch them because they are so much fun. And they give me so much motivation to just go outside and run and hit the punching bag and just do all those definitely just things that I wouldn't normally do because I'm not a boxer. Obviously, you have Rocky, that he is a boxer, but you kind of feel like you want to be a boxer too just by watching the movie. In the second fight, you have Rocky against Apollo Creed, part 2. They start fighting, and it's a one-sided battle up until the midpoint where Rocky, again, he's not giving up. They're trading punches, and Rocky is showing his determination again, his perseverance again. So by the end of the fight, you have a tired out Apollo Creed that kind of just wants to knock him out just because he said he is, and just because he knows that he's supposed to win this fight. And so he brings it, he tries to bring it on and keep on punching Rocky, even though Apollo Creed already has the fight in the bag. He won 7 rounds or 10 rounds out of 15. He won all of the rounds that he could, and Rocky didn't win any. He got a few lucky punches in there, but it was going Apollo's way. But Apollo got greedy, and he still wanted to get Rocky down. He wanted to prove to the world that Rocky just was lucky and that he still is the champion. And all of a sudden, in a stroke of luck, Rocky punches Apollo in this amazing scene where they both fall to the ground. And so now it is a race for the first person to get up. The first person to get up, the time will finish, and the first person to get up in 10 seconds wins. If you don't get up in 10 seconds, then it is a draw or a loss. So all you have to do is get up, and it is the hardest thing to do once they've both been knocked out clean cold. And so they are in the most intense part that I've seen in a movie in a long time. I haven't felt that intense in a while, because you just see how they're both struggling to get up. Two fighters that are just really struggling to show that they're supposed to be there. And in the end, Rocky ends up getting up first. So he becomes the new heavyweight champion of the world, which will then lead on to the third movie, where Rocky is now known as the established heavyweight champion of the world. You have him fighting at the beginning to the song of Eye of the Tiger, beating all of these challenger opponents that just want the belt. But then you find out that there is someone in the stands that has been waiting and bloodthirsty for Rocky, named Clubber Lang. And so Clubber Lang just keeps on trying to threaten Rocky, trying to get to Rocky. All of a sudden, he gets to Rocky, he gets his fight, and Clubber Lang ends up beating Rocky at the same time that Mickey, Rocky's trainer, ends up dying. And so you just have all of this emotional scenes where you don't know what Rocky would be feeling in that moment, because on one side his life is going downhill, and then his coach dies, and so now you don't have a way for him to get back up. It's just a complete rock bottom that I think that this movie expresses incredibly well. And then you have an unlikely friend coming back and saying, hey, I will help you train. And this unlikely friend is Apollo Creed. He becomes his coach again, and then they start training, and Rocky just isn't feeling it. He's afraid because the Clubber Lang hits really hard, and he just wants to win. He's bloodthirsty to win. So in the training, Apollo keeps on stressing to Rocky, hey, fight like there's no tomorrow, because there might not be a tomorrow. You gotta just get involved and just get into fighting, because that's what you're good for. That is what you were made for. You were made to fight, and you were made to do this. So you have to go out there and win again, because because you are the man to do that. And so after a lot of motivational speeches, Rocky ends up finding the motivation again. Another amazing training montage. My favorite of the movie series is right there, where you just have Rocky getting his feet back. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. You just have to get up and do it today, because if you don't do it today, then tomorrow your life is just going to be wasted. And so I just think that that is perfectly explained. And then at the end of the movie, you have Rocky fighting Clubber Lang, just trying to beat him up, and then he's doing it, but then he decides, hey, I'm going to lose in a strength battle. How about I just take punches, annoy this guy until he keeps on coming, and then I will end up punching him until he gets knocked out. So his idea was to go for a knockout, and he did do that. Even though Apollo was calling him stupid, even though everyone didn't believe that he could do it, he went up and he actually did taunt him until Clubber Lang got tired, where he gave out the knocking punch. And so Rocky ends up winning. He gets his title back, he gets his life back, and everything seems perfect. Fast forward a bit to where you have Rocky 4. Now, for me, this is one of the best installments. I think that it is the best Rocky movie just because of the emotional damage that sustains throughout the movie. You have both Apollo and Rocky, both are retired. They're done fighting, because after the Clubber Lang situation, who would want to go up against another fighter like that? They're getting older, and so they just have to think about settling down. All of a sudden, you have this new guy, Ivan Drago, a Russian boxer that was basically just trained for boxing his whole life. And so he comes back up and he says, you know what? I want to fight the best in the world, but let's be a bit humble first. Let me go against someone before the best in the world, and I'll show you guys how good I am. And so the Soviets are trying to use this as something to go in their advantage and another Cold War-esque type of thing. You obviously have your Cold War references where you have the bad Soviet Union against the good America, and you just have all of that type of thing. You have all the colors, in the end, America ends up getting a pretty hard beating when Apollo goes up against Drago because he thinks that he can win, and so he gets a really hard beating. And Rocky says, I gotta throw in the towel. You're gonna die out there. If I don't throw in the towel, you're gonna die. And then Apollo says that if he throws in the towel, he will never forgive him because he knows that he can finish this fight. Even if he loses, he just wants to feel that adrenaline rush of fighting again. And he ends up dying to Ivan Drago, that he doesn't really care if he lives or he dies. He just is there to show the whole world who the main guy is. And so Apollo dies in Rocky's hands. They go to the funeral, and then you know what? Rocky's outraged, so he decides to fight against Ivan Drago. But because now Drago killed someone, Drago decides to say, hey, let's not fight in the United States. Let's fight over in Russia, my hometown. We have state-of-the-art gyms. You'll be able to train there. Don't worry about it. Been getting death threats, and that's all. Which is a completely understandable thing. Like, obviously, you don't want to fight in a place where you have the possibility of getting hurt. So they go to Russia, and obviously Adrian, which is Rocky's wife at this point, is very skeptical about Rocky fighting against someone that is known to be a killer now. He killed Apollo Creed. What is he going to do to Rocky? And so after an amazing training montage in the winter, without any state-of-the-art stuff, you have Rocky going up against Ivan Drago that has been training. He's been juicing up and just really trying to get an advantage against Rocky. They're fighting at home in the Soviet Union. And so they start fighting. And at the beginning, everyone's just booing Rocky. Everyone just hates Rocky. And so they're fighting. And as the fight goes on, everyone starts to feel for Rocky. They start to want Rocky to win because he's just such a motivating character that doesn't give up no matter how hard he's beaten down. And in the end, he gets the revenge for Apollo Creed. And in an amazing fight, most of the fight scenes are amazingly choreographed. And it is said that in set, sometimes even the actors got a bit mad at each other and kind of didn't pull their punches, so they kind of hurt each other a bit more. It ended up perfectly because they ended up having the perfect movie with all the Rocky installments. You then have Rocky 5, the very last actual Rocky installment, where this is the movie where he finally does retire. Yes, in Rocky 5, he officially retires. It's not the most interesting movie. Number 5 I didn't find very interesting. I just found the fact that he retired to be the most important part. But hey, I've talked a lot about the movies and their synopsis, so I want to talk a bit about why I found these movies so significant and why I think that all of you should watch them and why I think that we can all take a bit of a lesson from Rocky. Obviously, life is hard and there's always going to be someone that is better than you in mostly everything that we do. But if we can just stay motivated and like put our goals in front of like what we want to do, if we find the like ends to be equally as important, then we will be able to like go through the means that will take us to those ends, and it will just be like an amazing feat once we accomplish these certain things. Obviously, Rocky starts at the beginning just being some rookie fighter that nobody knows, and in the end he becomes a world champion boxer that ends up retiring on top. And so you just have all these parts where you can do anything that you put your mind to, and I think that Rocky is a testament to that. Obviously, with the new Creed movies, it just shows how much more of a testament to that he is. Obviously, you don't have to be a boxer to be someone important. You can be yourself, and you can just try your best at whatever you do, and it will be enough. And so I think that that is a perfect message that Rocky shows. I think that it shows that that winning is nothing without the determination that we face to get there. If Rocky did not train as hard as he did, he would not have even beat Apollo Creed. All of this is happening because of that. Then obviously, if you watch the scenes where Rocky is training with the music and everything, you really start to love this movie. and you just kind of like get like really excited. You want to go out on a run, and so I just recommend that all of you watch the movie because you guys are gonna have a lot of fun with it. In my opinion, this is some of the most legendary cinema to ever come out. Yes, the graphics are a bit old. Yes, the fights are a bit old. Yes, the punch sound effects are a bit old, but it doesn't take away from how amazing this movie is, because you just have a lot more things that make this movie so worth watching, that just a bit of old movie isn't that bad. It's just, and it's a lot more serious, and it's a lot more what I like to see. Right now you have all these movies trying to make all these jokes and all of that doesn't really land, but now you have a rock head where like he's literally a rocket. Like it looks like it doesn't have much of a brain at like first, and then he has like the hardest head because he never gets knocked out. So you have this guy that just, you really like this character and you really grow with this character. Like I said, the characterization is amazing. The boxing scenes are amazing. The whole series is just amazing. And I would really recommend that all of you guys go watch it. It's just a worthwhile watch. If you don't like it, then you should go watch the new Creed movies that do go into like a bit more of the ending of the character. They don't kill him off. It's just that Sylvester Stallone had a bit of an issue with the company that kind of is directing Creed right now. So he kind of has to like step down from playing Rocky, but he would love to play Rocky again. And I think that he should, to give this character a proper farewell, because he is such an amazing character. Thank you everyone for watching. If you have enjoyed this episode, then you should definitely subscribe or follow on whatever platform you're listening on. If you can like it, like the video. If you can share it, definitely go share the video with your mom, grandma, whoever you can find. And then just leave a comment down below saying what your favorite Rocky movie is, what your favorite training montage is, or just who your favorite character in the Rocky franchise is. Personally, for me, Rocky is my favorite character. I just think that he brings so much to the table. I hope all of you have enjoyed watching this. I'll be back next week with more. Stay safe.